Hi, my name is Bailey Drexler, a student at Xavier University and an intern at the Center for the Study of the American Dream. Today we're here with Jordan Menzel of CrowdHall in Cincinnati. So first you could just introduce yourself, including your name, job title, where you're from, just a little bit about what you do.
My name is Jordan Menzel. I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I am currently the co-founder and chief operating officer for CrowdHall. And like I mentioned, I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, but for the past several years have been in Washington, D.C., where the company was actually kind of founded and got a lot of its early momentum out of. And while at Washington, D.C., I was in a graduate school at Georgetown University doing a Master's of Science in Foreign Service. So studying something fairly different to the space within which CrowdHall operates. And prior to that, had a background in international development and state politics. And most recently was working as an assistant to former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright.
First question I'd like to ask, what do you consider to be the American dream?
That's changed since I've been working on my own startup with friends. And I'm assuming it always changes. But right now, I think all of us, our whole team, would consider the American dream just having the opportunity to try something that, from one day to the next could sound completely impossible and unattainable. And I say that because both myself, my co-founder Austin Hackett, who's also from Salt Lake City, and at the time was in Columbia University's medical school, both of us just kind of had an idea in an industry within which we had no prior experience. Neither one of us had any experience starting up or managing something of this scale or size to begin with, and it's been really fun to go through this process to just have a shot and see how far we can take it.
We want to talk about your American dream specifically, so can you give us a description of what CrowdHall is and how you and your co-founder came up with the idea?
CrowdHall was founded by myself and my co-founder Austin Hackett. We're friends from a long time ago in Salt Lake City, have a lot of mutual friends, and Austin Hackett, about a year and a half ago, initially had an idea oriented around allowing any individual to be able to ask a question to someone in a political office. He felt like there were limited avenues to actually do that in a way that was transparent, open, and accessible. And at the same time, I had been talking with a mutual friend of ours. I'd been watching the Arab Spring and Occupy Wall Street, and we saw that there were a lot of social media tools that organized groups together and that put people together around causes, issues, or things of interest, but that they didn't do very much to allow those groups to communicate effectively. CrowdHall works really simply by anyone can open up a town hall by signing in through Facebook or Twitter. Once you open up a town hall, you can invite your network. So if you're a politician and you use Twitter or Facebook, you can invite your constituents and voters to join your town hall. People join your town hall, submit questions or statements, and vote on the ones they want to see rise to the top. And this creates an audience-sourced and prioritized list of top content so that those at the top, like a politician, can now pick the most important questions and provide a response that will reach the maximum number of people. And when a response is given, everyone that's voted for the question or that kind of subscribes to that town hall will be notified, and they can weigh in on that response, provide comments on that response, and continue that conversation. Not only can you open public town halls that are free and that currently take place on CrowdHall right now, but companies and organizations can create private town halls for internal uses, like employee discussions with a CEO, or between an academic program and their students. And those can be private, anonymous, and invite only. And then you can also use this experience for conferences and events.
Can you talk about how you think CrowdHall fits in with the idea of your American dream?
The American dream is that everyone has a chance. It doesn't mean that they succeed at everything, but it's that there's inherently an equal opportunity for people to give it their best, and that those barriers are removed. So CrowdHall is a venue that allows anybody, whether you are influential in society or not, to have access to high-profile people, companies, and organizations and to be able to have a voice.
Do you think that your experience being in Washington, D.C. and working in politics, did that have an influence on you wanting to do this type of company?
For sure. I mean, I worked in Utah State Legislature and was able to see local government is very exciting, it's fun, but even at that level, it can be overwhelming for a state legislator or a city council member to be responsive to their citizens or their constituents. And when you scale that up to the national level, it is people right now don't feel like they have access to Washington, D.C. And that lends, that creates a lot of frustration. It creates a lot of apathy to getting involved in politics. And so once we started to see that there was a really big problem about allowing large groups of people to communicate efficiently and empowering an individual to feel like they can be elevated to a standpoint where they can actually be heard, was very attractive.
What advice do you have for other people embarking on their own American dreams?
You gotta have an irrational belief that you can succeed at it, but at the same time have a completely open and unconditional mentality that you may not succeed, and that if you don't succeed, that's okay, because you will experience a lot of failure, and if you feel like the first, second, or third, or fourth failures will define you, then you'll likely stop. And also creating momentum until you have it. And we had to fake a lot of early traction, early momentum, just to keep ourselves motivated and excited.